Dragon Ball Super has done a lot of things right, but it's also done a lot of things wrong. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the 10 things that we believe that Dragon Ball Super has done wrong thus far. And of course, joining me for this video is going to be my guest, and on his channel, you can go down below in the description and check out the 10 things that we said that Dragon Ball Super did right, and his name is...
Hey guys, it's D from Geekdom 101. How's it going?
In this video, basically what we're going to be doing is each of us is going to be giving 5 things that we believe that Super did wrong, which is of course going to add up to 10. Alright, to start this off, I'm going to let Big D say his first pick for what they did wrong.
Well, my first pick for my 5 things that Dragon Ball Super did wrong is one that we've actually had a problem with since the beginning of the series, and is still a problem to this day, and that's Toei not specifying when it actually takes place. In the original press release, they said that the series takes place 6 months after the death of Kid Buu, but in the first episode, it basically says that they wished everybody's mind to be erased 6 months after, and then some time passed. Now, there's a lot of contradictions about when this actually takes place, and it's very difficult to really talk about this on this video, so we'll hold off for another video, but let's just say that it's very hard to take, and not very hard, it's impossible to actually place a time where this series can make sense and fit into the Dragon Ball manga timeline. Yeah. To me, that's a huge problem, because now there's debates going on about, are they going to retcon the end of the series? Pan is being born too early. How is Goku gonna get a reward money from Mr. Satan, 2 years after? If that's 2 years, the Yo Son Goku special has been erased from continuity. It's a problem, and I think that Toei screwed up big time in not specifying when it takes place, and also in not, keeping tabs of everything that was said at the end of the series so that it all fits in. There's already lots of holes now, and it might actually get worse as the series progresses, so that's a big problem for me anyways.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. Now, my pick is going to be taking content away from the source material or the movies that the first 2 arcs thus far have been based on. And basically what I mean about that is essentially that there is some stuff that happened in the films that has completely gone without explanation, or that they just cut out of the series for no reason. For example, there is Pilaf being turned into a kid, talking about how he made that wish for youth and they turned into a kid by Shenron. That was completely cut out, so we're just left wondering why they're kids. Also, of course, there was the fact that they completely cut out the entire legend of the Super Saiyan God, and they just replaced it with some sort of Namekian book of legends with no elaboration on whatsoever. So basically, there's a lot of stuff in Dragon Ball Super thus far that they kind of cut out, and I don't really know why, and it really annoys me because that was my favorite scene from Battle of Gods, and there's just so much stuff that they, there's no reason for them to take stuff out, and then they just replace it with nothing of substance. So that's definitely going to be kind of the thing that I feel is going to be my first pick, because it's really something that I found disappointing with the series. Now, what's your next pick?
Well, it's funny, my next pick actually goes with that. My next pick is Pilaf being wasted in the Battle of Gods arc, and the elimination of the Pilaf Mai Trunks thing.
Yeah.
One of the funniest things about Dragon Ball Super was this idea that Trunks was gonna have Mai as his girlfriend, because Mai is like 40-something years old, but she got wished to be a kid in Battle of Gods. And I was really hoping that they would expound upon this in Super, keep it, and have some wacky comedic episodes of Pilaf or Mai and Trunks going out on a date or something, and she feels weird because she's in her 40s and Trunks is a kid. Or even better, have a teenage Trunks dating an old Mai, or a young Mai in an old body, like Tom Hanks's movie Big. There's just so much potential for hilarity here, except backwards. And they cut the entire thing out. And I feel like Pilaf, when they introduced him in episode 4, was to give him more screen time, when in fact he did nothing in the Battle of Gods arc. He hung out with Whis, Goten and Trunks made friends with them, but he was just a spectator. He did nothing. Whereas in the movie, obviously it was Mai's bullet that was shot in order to eventually reveal that Videl was pregnant. That actually served a purpose, whereas here they did nothing. They were wasted, and they didn't even have to be there. I think Super really dropped the ball with this one big time.
Absolutely, they were basically just furniturized for no reason. But my next pick is going to be redoing the movies in general. I feel is a big mistake as Super made, and I feel like the majority of people kind of agree with me on this. Most people just didn't want to see them rehash the movies. We just saw them. They're still recent in everyone's minds. I mean, it's only only been a couple years at this point since, Battle of Gods even came out. So, like, there's no real reason why they did this, and it just seemed like a blatant cash grab to try and add more episodes so they could sell more Blu-rays or DVDs. And the fact of the matter is, I just think that the movies did it better in general. Like, there's certain things that the movies did better, as, I talked about on the other video, which you could check down below in the description. But aside from that, I just feel like it was kind of a waste of our time. They should just began it after the movies were over. They could have cut the movies up and made them into episodes. I just feel like redoing the movies was just a big mistake on their part, and something that I really had no interest in seeing.
My next pick goes along with that, actually, which is failing to expand upon Resurrection F. I felt that, and I've said this before, Resurrection F's story was severely lacking. The film didn't really have a second act. It was just Frieza comes back and there's a fight. That's pretty much the entire plot of the movie. And I felt that if they were going to adapt this movie into a TV show, it would give them the opportunity to actually tell a story, maybe show more of Frieza's training, maybe show more of a quest, of Frieza's quest for revenge, and have it be like the reverse revenge story, like a reverse Steven Seagal thing. Give it more time. I felt that they dropped the ball on it huge. We got a little bit more stuff with Tagoma, a little bit more stuff here and there, but we saw almost no information about the Z fighters. We didn't see anything at all. They had Goten and Trunks this time, but I still felt that it didn't deviate as much from Resurrection F as it should have, and I felt that they kind of needed to. They did do some things, but I felt they didn't do enough to really tell the revival of Frieza's story in a much more epic and in a much more intriguing way. I just felt that Frieza getting wished back and then just losing was kind of a waste of time, and Super didn't change that. Nothing that Frieza has done in Super has had any sort of impact whatsoever with the series, with the exception of maybe killing Piccolo, and he'll be getting wished back anyway, so what does it matter?
Yeah, absolutely, and that was one of my gripes with the movie itself. But also, my next pick is going to be plot holes, and Super has just created so many plot holes at this point. It seems like every other episode there is a new plot hole or inconsistency, and it's just like they're not even bothering to try and look into this kind of stuff, and they're not trying to bother to see what's canon, what's not, what actually, has bearing in terms of the plot and what doesn't. And there's so many things, even the death that you just talked about with Piccolo, he just got blasted through the chest and he was barely even beat up before that. He got healed by Dende. Why did he die when he can regenerate from just his head in the Boo saga? There's so many things that happened in the show thus far. They're just basically plot holes, and I feel like Super is really dropping the ball in that way because, one, they don't seem to have a continuity checker or care, and they're just kind of half-assing it in terms of that, and they just don't seem to care, and they just seem to be pumping this out for money. So that's absolutely one of my things I feel is necessarily wrong with the series. But what's your next pick?
I agree, it's very lazily done. My next pick is Sumitomo's goofy circus music, all right? Look, Sumitomo has done a great job when it comes to transformations and when it comes to certain epic scenes, but that goofy circus music that he plays when Gotenks was fighting Beerus or when Goku returns completely sucks the life out of the room, completely. Goku's return to the battlefield when Beerus was about to wipe away the Earth and Goku was going to come back and, eventually reveal the God form after wishing, with Dragon, that whole music is so bad. It's not even funny, goofy music. It's just bad, goofy music. And I feel like Sumitomo's score has some moments of greatness, but I think it's sorely lacking, and in my opinion does not even compare to the music of Kikuchi or even the music of Yamamoto. I think that he has his moments of greatness, but I think overall it's just not, it doesn't really fit as well as some of the previous scores do, especially that goofy ass circus song.
Yeah, and I agree with certain points that you've made, but my next pick is going to be bad pacing, because thus far I feel like this show has really not been paced well. The Super beginning arc with Battle of Gods being retold was just so slow, like molasses in an igloo or something like that. It was just so unbearably slow at times because we just wanted it to be over. And there's been points in the Resurrection F arc where it just seems like they're rushing to get done with it, and then there will be some certain episodes that would be also drawn out. So the pacing has just been all over the place. It's been very inconsistent, and it's really contributed to kind of a negative perception and experience when experiencing this. I still feel like the pacing was worse in GT, but I feel like basically Super is not doing a good job with the pacing compared to even the original Dragon Ball Z, and definitely not compared to Kai.
My last pick is, to me, my opinion, and I saved it for last for a reason, the biggest letdown of Super, and it's just one scene in particular. It just bothered me, and that is the Gohan finding out Videla's pregnant scene. I've said this before. If you watch my videos, I may have said it on one of your videos too. The scene where Gohan finds out that Videla's pregnant in Battle of Gods is one of, if not the most humanistic, real, emotional scenes in the entire series. The way that he jumps for joy, the way that he reacts to the fact that he's gonna have a baby is incredible. Like, I don't care if Gohan gets nerfed for the rest of the series. That moment made him a favorite in my eyes, and it was completely and utterly an afterthought in Super. They actually played it up for comedy. Gohan didn't react the same way. It was just, they had the perfect music, the perfect direction, the perfect animation for it in the movie. In the Super version, it was just a joke, and it really, really pissed me off. And even to this day, if you were to tell me what's the one scene in the Super adaptation that bothered you the most, it's that one. That is the one.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. But my last pick is going to be something that people talk about constantly, especially after episode 5, and that would be bad animation. Now, Super does have its moments of good animation, definitely. There are some great shots at certain times, especially the close-ups. But the fact of the matter is that there is so much bad animation that happens in this show, and there's always bad animation every single episode, even if it's minute, from ranging from small to big. And the fact of the matter is, it just is a symptom of not only are they rushing this series to the fact, that they're just underutilizing their staff, or they're just not getting the correct resources for this, but they're being so cheap with it. I feel like they could easily afford to bring in people, that are, paid at a better rate, a wage, or someone, people who just really can
a better team.
Yeah, just a better team in general. And the fact of the matter is that they're just not putting the money into it. They're not putting the effort into it, and it just really irritates me. It's something that I just feel is negative overall, and they really need to improve, especially with the new content coming, because if they don't, people are going to see it as cheap, especially when it comes to the United States, and people are just going to stop watching it. And that's a big risk that this series really has.
I agree with you. It's been a problem. A lot of people have talked about it. I think it's a little bit over-exaggerated of a problem, but it's certainly there, and it's 2015. There are other studios doing a better job. There's no excuse for them not to go in there and do what they need to do. And even if they have to split it up into arcs and seasons, they should just do it, but they probably won't, so why even talk about it?
Yeah, but overall, this has been the 10 things that we think that Dragon Ball Super has been doing wrong thus far. Don't forget to check out the other video, the 10 things that we think Super has been doing right thus far on Big D's channel, and tell us down below, what do you think the top 10 things that Super has been doing wrong thus far would be for you? What is your opinion? Do you agree with us or do you disagree? Also, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as I always say, stick around because there's a lot more to come in the future.
Subscribe now!